ACCUCARE Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine in Brick, New Jersey offers a state-of-the-art facility with all the best and current treatments. With athletic trainers, massage therapists, and doctors of physical therapy, ACCUCARE has everything you need to stay healthy and perform at the highest level. Cupping, stretching, laser therapy, compression boots, and a full-body cryo chamber are just some of what you can expect at ACCUCARE. Check out their website and social media links in my bio. No prescription is needed to see them. So call them today and start feeling and performing at your best. Again, thank you to ACCUCARE for sponsoring the Shore Football Report. Just got two things to say right now. First, I want to thank ACCUCARE. They are awesome, our great sponsor. Get there. If you haven't been there yet, make an appointment, get to ACCUCARE, especially towards the end of the season when your body needs to get that extra push and be healthy on the football field. Rehabilitation, recovery, they are the best. Make an appointment, call them and tell them you're coming. All right. The Shore Football Report is definitely endorsing going to ACCUCARE. They're the best out there right now. And they have athletes going there around the clock, all sports, and that's that. And also, when you're transitioning to another sport, your body is gonna be needing this ACCUCARE treatment because you're using different body parts. So just make sure that you utilize ACCUCARE, located in Brick. They are the best. I love being associated with them. They are part of the team, the Shore Football Report team. All right. The other thing I want to say is this: subscribe to the Shore Football Report YouTube channel. Every one of you, when you watch it, click subscribe. It's free. It's free. Turn the notifications off if you don't want to hear it, but subscribe. By you subscribing, says thank you. I need 1,000. I want 1,000 subscribers. Please, 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 please subscribe. Scott Stump says I don't say it enough on our show. That's why we don't got 1,000 subscribers. But subscribe. All joking aside, it's the cool thing to do. All right. Join the Shore Football Report team. We got so many things that are going to be going on our YouTube channel, not just our talk shows. We're going to have extensive all-star team coverage that we're going to do. Also, yes, you've been asking, the Stumpy Awards, they're coming back. The Stumpy Awards are coming back from 8 years ago, and I know you guys are going to love it. So we're going to have all my all-star teams, all county, all shore, all division, my rankings of players, because I changed things up and seeing how guys are playing, adding the freshmen, the 2026s are going to be included in that rankings too. It's a lot of stuff, all going to be on our YouTube, the Shore Football Report YouTube. Subscribe. You won't want to miss it. In the off season, I'll be doing things around the clock for recruiting, talking with college coaches and coaches from all over the country will be on my talk shows throughout the off season. There's no off in my season. All right. Subscribe to the Shore Football Report. And also, more importantly, make an appointment to ACCUCARE.
And we move on to Group 4, where we have one team left. In the South Jersey Group 4 bracket. We'll start with that. We got Jackson Memorial after a grinding defensive slugfest win 10-7 over Manalapan. They are headed down to second-seeded Millville, trying to make their 8th final in program history, their first since they won it all in 2015. I feel like this is a tough one for Jackson because this Millville offense is really loaded with playmakers, and we've seen Jackson in some of their bigger games. They've struggled to score points, but they have relied on a defense that has been really good here the last month or so. How do you see this matchup shaping up?
Well, I want to talk about. I was at that game. I was at that game. Jackson Manalapan 10-7, and what a defensive game it was by both teams. Manalapan, I thought, was in control of the football game. Jackson had 60 yards offense and won the game. Remember that. So they're going in for, I believed, was a field goal, and it was 3rd down and 7 or 8, and he tried to pull a Mahomes. If all he had to do was throw it out of bounds or go, because they have one of the better kickers in the shore. Instead, he flips it, and the linebacker, Ethan Kalinauskas, a transfer from Donovan Catholic who came back to his hometown, took it and went 77 yards and changed the whole complexion. It was a 10-point turnaround because they would have got the 3. Instead, they got the 7, and they never looked back. And that was a huge win. That could have gone either way, and Jackson won with great defense and very opportunistic. Great crowd. It was awesome. Jackson's back.
Right. And now, though, they're going to need an even better, I think, defensive effort. Millville routed Lacey in the first round. We talked last week about Jacob Zamont, their quarterback. He threw 5 touchdowns in that victory over Lacey. Dante Smith had 2 of them. Latsier Brooks, we talked about, is one of the better sophomores in the entire state as a wide receiver. Yeah. He had a touchdown catch. Teron Hale, who's another bunch of FBS offers, he had a touchdown catch. So that's a lot of guys to account for. And also, I mean, I would argue Jackson hasn't really faced like an elite passing attack all season. They did see Freehold Township, who throws the ball a good amount and did a great job against them. But I wouldn't put Township on the level of this Millville passing attack. So this is the type of offense they haven't really faced all year. I mean, they have a solid secondary. Albert D'Alessandro, 3 INTs, a lot of the two-way players back there. But I think it's going to be a real challenge trying to slow them down. And more, it's going to be exerting their will. Like, this is a team that you're facing. You want to sit on the ball, right? You want to have long drives on your end.
Yeah, I mean, I have Millville as the favorite to win this whole bracket right here. Jackson's got to do a little better job offensively. They weren't able to do that. Defense dominated. But, Millville's got like 4 wide receivers that can go to the house at any time, including that sophomore who's a top 5, a Power 5 recruit right there. But Millville's loaded, as they showed against Lacey. It wasn't even a contest. It wasn't even a contest at all. But, Jackson's going to have to be very opportunistic playing at Millville. It's an uphill battle for them.
Right. I mean, they're a proud program. They have a great coaching staff. You never count them out. They always got a good shot. It's just you're going to need Ty Mann to have a really good game. You're going to need to run the ball effectively to keep that offense standing on the sidelines. So I think that's going to be a huge thing. The Jackson offensive line is what would be able to swing this game in their favor. If they're getting 4 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, and they keep moving the chains and sit on the ball for 6 minutes or something like that, that's less possessions for Millville. Maybe you can pull this one out. But to me, I would think you're probably going to need 20-plus points to win this game
easily
against a team of that caliber.
Yeah, you're not holding Millville down to under 20, not at all. You know what's frustrating? You see teams like Millville where they can throw it anytime they want, and then you watch a Jet game and they can't even complete a 3-yard pass at all.
That'll be a whole separate 38-minute video. Will be my rant about Zach Wilson. We can't even get into that.
But I mean, Jackson's
I just think this is a big season for Jackson to reestablish themselves. They had one, kind of down season by their standards. Not been some long streak or anything, but this was definitely one of those years to get back on solid ground and show that they're going to be a perennial contender again.
Yeah, they're an exciting football team. They're very passionate. They got a lot of young talent with leadership with Ty Mann and Aiden Sweeney leading the pack right there. I love Ryan Fisher. I mean, they deserve to be in the state semifinals. They really do. They worked their tails off. They overcame a 3-6 season last year. Won a home game, a playoff home game. So they're right back to Jackson standards, being very being very important in the playoffs.
And we moved to Central Jersey Group 4. We had Jackson as an underdog in South Jersey. We go to Middletown South, the number 1 seed, as a favorite in this bracket. They went out and ran roughshod over Cherry Hill West in the first round for a blowout victory at the Swamp. They are now going to play the Winslow Township team that just knocked Colts Neck out with a 16-8 hard-fought victory on the road. South was South last week. Colin Gallagher, another 13 in tackles, another 2+ sacks like clockwork. Jake's Wakil, 3 touchdown runs. They are running on all cylinders right now. They're going to play a Winslow team that runs the ball pretty well. Jameel Peterson had 121 yards rushing and a touchdown against Colts Neck. He's over 1,000 for the season. Mm-hmm. Although Colts Neck completely stifled that run game in the second half. They only ran 19 plays in the whole second half. I look at this at this is a good matchup for South. If you want to play a grinding, defensive, physical slugfest, that's where South lives. They would love that.
Oh, yeah. Middletown South's rolling. They really are. This is an exciting bracket. We have 2 short conference teams because Long Branch also pulled the upset probably of the state playoffs, beating Pennsauken 13-6 in overtime. Some great plays on there. Saku Camus with a kick return touchdown. They had Akil Gaines with 2 big interceptions. Shamar Williams a pick in overtime. And, of course, Mikey Hall's nice catch from Reevy at the end of the game. And boy, oh boy, was Coach King really pumped up after that game, huh? Taking over a program for Danny George and winning a game like that. Oh, my God, they are sky high.
And it's probably close to his heart because Chad is a defensive guy, hard-nosed, play tough defense. And that team had not been held under 30 points the entire season. Wow. They were averaging almost 40 a game, and you hold them to 6 in an overtime game, so extra time on their home field. That's got to give you the confidence to feel like, hey, if we can shut down an offense like that, we got a shot. They're going to go play a team that you named as a dark horse to potentially win the whole thing or definitely be in the finals. And that's Mainland. Mainland coming off a lopsided win in their
63-10. Yeah, 63-10.
Yeah, they exploded in that first round, and it's interesting. Their quarterback is a freshman.
Is he really?
John Franchini averages 20 yards of completion, 11 touchdowns. He's got 2 good receivers, Jamie Tyson, Cohen Cook, who's kind of like a running back receiver. But the franchise for them is Jabril Mace, 1,000-yard rusher. They have over 2,200 yards rushing as a team. Last week he had 154 yards and 4 TDs. He's got 22 touchdowns of the season. It's tied one of their school records from the 60s. So that obviously he's going to be the focal point, I would think, of that Long Branch defense.
He's a commit, I think, to Townsend too. Or no, Villanova. Okay. They're a well-coached football team, and 63-10 against another state playoff team says a lot about them. Long Branch, though, I'll tell you right now, we were talking about Marlboro. Long Branch, too, plays with a lot of excitement, and they kind of surprise you. Do they have 2 of them to do in the same bracket? I don't know if they can do 2 games like that because they play with a lot of people.
It's almost eerie because Mainland comes into the game averaging 39 points a game, just like Pennsauken was in the last round. So, if you could duplicate this again, if you shut down 2 teams averaging almost 40 a game, a big key, I think, for Long Branch is going to be Mainland comes out firing in almost all their games. They've scored over 100 points in the first quarter of their games this year total. So they're a team that just tries to jump on you right from the gun, and it's 14-0, and before you can even get your bearings. So that, I think, for the Long Branch defense, if you can kind of hold them at bay right away and send them the message that this is going to be a game, I think that's going to be huge in the first quarter.
That's a really good point. Yeah, you're right. Long Branch can't fall behind. Their offense isn't as good as their defense. They play their defense. They're in this, any play can go for a touchdown, a scoop and score, a fumble, an interception for a touchdown, kick return, punt return. All the above can happen for Long Branch. So they need everything to go their way. Could they do it against Mainland? Who knows? But if Mainland wants to throw the football and test them, they got some athletes in that backfield, Long Branch. But on the other side, too, with Middletown South, they are just rolling. Since I've seen them against Long Branch, they seem to be rolling right now and playing their best ball of the season with Jake Sawako leading on both offense, defense. And people forget he's also the kicker, too, who does a great job.
Yeah, and they in the beginning of the season, I looked at their schedule and it was like, this might be one of the hardest schedules in the state. Forget just the short conference. But that mentality of the head coach, their longtime head coach, Steve Antucci, being like, bring it on. I think a lot of other coaches would say, man, especially for a public school, we don't have tons of depth. This is a little unfair. They had some huge injuries in the preseason to projected starters. So, I think he instills that mentality right from the beginning of we'll play anybody, anytime, anywhere. We don't care what our schedule is like. And they took their lumps. They had a tough loss to RBC. They had, some other tough games, but they came out, they beat Donovan Catholic. That to me was a big signal of like, this team is ready to come for it all in the playoffs.
Never questioned Coach Antonucci. Never. Never. He's been there, done it. This thing's kind of wide open a little bit, in terms of Mainland is a team that I keep hearing about down south. They can take it. But we have a team with Middletown South in our short conference that we're pretty proud about. And I think that they have a legit shot too.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with South is going to be, can they muster enough offense against some of the maybe more talented offensive teams? Their defense is really good, but it's tough to ask a defense to, we got to hold these guys to 7 points every week when a lot of these teams are really, really good. And that's a tall ask for the defense. That like, can their offense, obviously they just scored a ton in the first round, but that was a lopsided matchup. Can they get 27, 28 points against a good team, a Mainland or somebody like that to get the win? I certainly think they're capable of it because to me, this team's getting better and better every single week. Like the way their season is set up, it feels like they're peaking at exactly the right time.
We're going to talk Jackson Jaguars football with offensive coordinator Coach Keith Anderson in his 12th season, senior cornerback Ty Mann, and junior wide receiver safety Albert D'Alessandro. Guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Of course.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I know it's busy, it's crazy, and to squeeze in a couple minutes with little old Shore Football Report, I appreciate it. I really do. Coach, let's get right into it. Here's the state of your program, Coach Anderson. In your 12th season, you're 7-2 right now. You're number 7 ranked in the coaches' top 20 in the short conference. You are the 3 seed in the South Jersey Group 4, and you just advanced to South Jersey Group 4 semifinals with what I thought was an incredible 10-7 win versus Manalapan first round. Coach, tell me how great everything's going right now, and did you guys think you were going to be in this position in the beginning of the season?
We felt like, we had an opportunity to be here. Obviously, we're going to have to go out and earn it every week and go through the schedule. But the kids worked their butts off from last year. I think that sour taste. I know we ended on a 3-game winning streak, but I think, as we talked earlier about, the kids, having that varsity experience and finally get a year underneath their belt. And, the kids worked their butts off in the off season in the weight room, and kids ran track and that kind of stuff. And I think our mindset was, to get back to a familiar place called the playoffs for Jackson Memorial. And I think that's, what was on our mind, obviously 1 game at a time. But I think the kids, did what they needed to do and to help us get, where we are right now.
Yeah. Hey, Ty and Al, tell me something from a player's perspective. When you were over during the summer doing your 7-on-7s, going to your various camps, is this where you thought you would be? I know you want to be here, but did you really think that you would be in this position you are right now?
Yeah. I think, since the beginning of the year, I think we definitely do way better than last year. We had the expectations to go far, and that's what we're just trying to do.
Al?
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome.
No, we knew we had a lot of talent on this team from day one. So I mean, we expected to be here, and we're not. None of us are surprised that we're in this position right now.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, you're Jackson Jaguars. I don't think there's any surprise, Coach. You've been there 12 years, so you won a lot of football games. And we talked before we came on the air. You've been in shootouts. You've been in close games, but you won. And the one thing about Jackson is you are winners on and off the field every year. Now, you've had one losing record in the last 11 years, and that happened to be last year, 3-6. You know, shaking the COVID era and all that stuff. Coach, tell me, what was the secret that you did in the offseason that changed from you didn't want that taste in your mouth ever again to get back to your winning ways that Jackson's known for?
I just think the overall attitude of the kids. I think that's, attitude is everything. So I think, the attitude of the kids just wanting to get after it in the weight room. And, even in the summertime, I was coming in early at 6 a.m., sometimes 5:30, meeting the kids, just the attitude. I think the attitude just was different. Kids, got tired of, last year and, obviously, the way the season started and obviously ended on a good note. But I just think the attitude, the overall attitude of the kids, the program, and we changed some things up offensively and things of that nature, and just kind of went about our business, that blue collar, mentality that we have. And, Coach Mistretta always talks about that, just working hard, just always, getting your hands dirty. And I think that's kind of approach that the kids took. And, as a staff, we take that same mentality as well.
Yeah, you guys got back to Jackson Jaguar football. Al, injuries were a part of last year too. I don't know exactly what guys were injured, but I know Ty was out one game. I think you played quarterback against Homedale, right? Was it Homedale? And you had a pretty good game. Did you guys do anything different as a team, meaning the players, going into this season after a 3-6 season?
I mean, I think all around we were working together more, off the field and with everything and hanging out more, and it just kind of worked its way into the field with us, which I think helped out a lot. Yeah.
Hey, Ty, I had somebody watching you guys in the 7-on-7 when you won again the second year in a row at Barnegat, and they told me there's something about that quarterback. He seems determined this season. As a senior, did you feel like you were more prepared and excited about this season more than your junior year because you were one of the leaders?
Yeah, I think I was definitely more prepared, and I kind of knew what it felt like to lose from that year, and I knew I never wanted that to happen again. So I was definitely a lot more determined, and especially with the fact being that it's going to be my last year, I was coming for it all, and I think luckily all the seniors share that mindset. So I think that's why I contribute a lot of our success to the seniors just having that mindset of coming for it all.
Awesome. Let's talk some coaches right now. All right. First, Coach Mistretta, who could not be here. He had a prior engagement right here. I want you guys, you players, tell me something about Coach Mistretta, who's a successful coach in his 6th year at Jackson. And when I was on the sidelines with you guys, boy, oh boy, was he pumped up because he kept saying, we're back. And you know what? You are so much excitement coming from his voice. Tell me something about Coach Mistretta that I might not know about.
Definitely definitely a great coach. I mean, we'll follow him anywhere, and he knows he's very cooperative with us, I'd say.
The one thing I know about Coach is that he respects the past, respects history of Jackson. He really does. And you have a defense that I thought was incredible on Friday. Your defense, who had 2 shutouts this year, wins. You won the game on a 77-yard interception return by Ethan Kalinauskas. Did I pronounce it right?
That's right, yeah.
Tell me something about your defensive coordinator, Coach Mike Smith. Al, tell me something about your D coordinator.
He's definitely a great coach. I mean, he's hard on us. He makes sure everything's right and there's nothing out of hand at all. And that's just how our defense plays in football.
Yeah, it's good that he came back to coach too, because he's been there from the past with a lot of winning championships. We're going to talk about the coach that's here in a second too. But first, Ty, I want you to talk about some of those great linemen in the trenches on offense and defense that make you and Al look very good, and also Aiden Sweeney look very good. And start with Ryan Fisher, that big kid, 73. Give me some names of those players.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Ryan's definitely one of the more notable names, but offensive line, we got Angelo Nicosi at center. We got Austin Komeyer playing guard. Harold Mees is only a sophomore playing tackle. We got Luke Stallnecker. All of them. And D-line too. We got a couple more names there, but no, I give so much credit to that unit because I mean, like it's not uncommon for the line to not get the credit they deserve, but I feel like without them, I wouldn't be the player I am. Aiden wouldn't be the player he is. We all know that. We all appreciate them very much because they've been dogs all season.
Well, I think offensive linemen are the most loyal dudes on a football team. And I always say they're the only guys that can date my daughters. Line guys. Greatest husbands in the world. Right? Yeah. Awesome. Now, Coach, we got to talk about you real quick offensively. I have a lot of respect for you, Coach. I've been coaching for a long time, and I know you were coaching. We never crossed paths coaching, but I knew all about you. I knew your reputation, your body of consistency, 12 years at Jackson, offensive coordinator. You won so many games. I want you to tell me these two weapons that are here right now. Tell me how important it is to your offense to have Ty Mann and Albert D'Alessandro on the field at the same time offensively.
Well, first off, they're great kids, and that's what makes it great to coach both of them. And two, it's just tough to, it's tough to cover, Albert, and obviously you have a running quarterback that also can throw the football. So as a defensive coordinator, you got your hands full. And obviously we have, Aiden Sweeney, we have a freshman tailback as well, Glenn, Jonah Glenn. We have, Frank Castellano, we have Jags Zinski, we have Jane Hernandez, we have Sean Hubbard. So, there's a lot of kids that you have to prepare for. And then obviously we have a running quarterback that doesn't mind contact and running downhill. And, we try to put Albert in different spots to get him the ball and obviously still sticking to our identity, as we do with Jackson Memorial Football is, ground and pound, and play action. So, when you have all that going on at one time, it's a lot. It can give a defensive coordinator a headache. So we try to do whatever we can or do the best we can by putting these great kids in situations that can help the football team advance the football and obviously put some points on the board. So we're all about that.
Coach, I love going on the sidelines and watching things that you couldn't get from huddle. And your demeanor with Ty when he came off the field and talking to him in the heat of the moment of the games, such a common demeanor you had. And I have a lot of respect for that. I really do. In a big game like that, the way you are and hearing all the great things I hear about you just validated your demeanor and all that. And great job. And as an offensive coordinator, you got to sometimes say, we got to play to our defense sometimes. And you had a lot of confidence in your defense, and you played within your game plan. I have a lot of respect for that, Coach. I really do.
I was sweating bullets, Coach. I tell you that. But our kids made the plays, and that's one thing I love about this program. We always talk about being mentally and physically tough, and teams are driving, and it's not about that bend don't break type of defense. And since I've been here for 12 years, that's been our hallmark. Running the football and playing tough-nosed defense, and our kids just being mentally and physically tough. And I think Friday night showed that. We didn't do everything we could on offense, but the defense carried a load, and that big, huge interception before the half, and obviously the field goal.
Field goal was good. Yeah,
was huge. But that's how you win football games. Sometimes it's not always going to be high power scoring, and it comes down to defense. And obviously, in our favor, we made the plays that we needed to make, and we moved on in advance. And that's a credit to the kids and Coach Smitty, and our defensive staff and our whole coaching staff just putting our heads together and trying to again, letting the kids, talents come out and go out there and try and compete. And that's what we did.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I don't know if you guys realize this, but you got a big game Friday. Real big game Friday. You're representing Jackson, Ocean County, Shore Conference. We're all proud of you guys. We really are. You're playing Millville, the number 2 ranked team in South Jersey Group 4. They just played Lacey. Yeah, I don't know if they're a familiar team with you and all that, but they played a team at Lacey, kind of handled them. They got some weapons. They really, really do. And, Coach, I'm going to ask you first, and then I'm going to ask these guys another question. Tell me something about Millville that maybe nobody knows about in the Shore Conference.
Well, we have a lot of speed in the Shore Conference, but these guys have speed.
Yeah.
Aggressive, physical, and I think that's what I see. Athletic, they just stand out. A lot of their players stand out that way. Just watching some of their defensive linemen chasing down quarterbacks from the backside.
Right.
Some of those things that kind of stood out on film when watching the film and breaking the film down. Just very athletic, very, very disruptive. And I think that's, obviously the guys just talked about the offensive line. I think that's going to be the key, for us is establishing, up front, the line of scrimmage. And I think that's, key for us.
And let's keep it at that. Let's not give out any game plans because Millville's going to be watching. Millville's going to be watching the number 1 talk show out there tomorrow. Now, you two here, let's talk about you guys. How exciting is it in the Jackson community and in the hallways? And I'm going to tell you one thing about Jackson. They like to rally around hardworking, blue-collar players like yourself. So tell me how exciting it is to represent Jackson in the community with what's going on with you guys this year.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's a big responsibility because we have such a successful program, but
Exactly.
we're very confident in our guys, and I think we represent it well. So I'm very proud to be a part of this program, but yeah, I think we're representing it very well.
Yes, you are. Al, tell me how the hallways are. Is it crazy to get to your period 1 class because everybody's screaming your name and doing all that? Is it crazy in the hallways? A good crazy, though.
Oh, I guess something like that. But yeah, it's amazing. Like everybody in whole school and everybody just like kind of rallying around like how stuff goes on a Friday night, and just amazing.
It's always great when your best athletes are your best players on and off the field, and you guys and others too on your team are in the hallways. So that must be a great situation in your school to have school spirit cheering for you guys. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. All right. I said 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to keep it to that, man. All right. I appreciate you. I needed ratings up. I needed to get Jackson on. All right. A little selfish I am. I needed to get winners on. All right. We're going to be following you guys and hopefully right to the end. There's no reason in the world why you can't win this week. You guys deserve to be there. Rightfully so, and you're a good football team too. I know Millville's doing their research on you guys as we speak. All right?
Let's go Jags, baby. Let's go.
All right, guys. I appreciate everything, man, and go Jackson.